Just a few days ago, I reported on my channel that war tensions between the United States of America and Iran are rising. Within these last couple of days, it seems that tension has increased tenfold. Now, while Iran may seem insignificant or small in comparison to the United States of America, I don't believe we should take their threat lightly. The truth is, the Iranian force has been sending sleeper cells into the United States of America via our open borders for many, many years. Now, before I get into some of the facts on the sleeper cells, let's delve into some of those war tensions. Take a look at this article on dailymail.co.uk. It was sabotage. Iran used explosives to blow a hole in 4 ships anchored off the UAE coast, says Pentagon, as Spain pulls frigate from the Gulf amid fears of looming conflict. The article goes on to state, 4 ships, including 2 Saudi oil tankers, were damaged in this mysterious sabotage attack off the UAE coast. One of the commercial ships was said to be en route to pick up Saudi oil to transport to America. America's military initial assessment is that Iran or Iran-backed proxies are responsible for the attacks. And this comes amid rising tensions between U.S. and Iran and warning conflicts could break out by accident. Spain has pulled one of its frigates from near the Persian Gulf because of the mounting U.S. and Iranian tensions. Here's another on Infowars.com, and so it begins. Iran blamed for attack on Saudi oil tankers. Pentagon plan would send 120,000 troops to the Middle East. Infowars.com, leaked Pentagon plan calls for 120,000 troops to counter Iran. It is unclear whether Trump himself has seen or been briefed on the plan. When asked about it, Trump said, "We'll see what happens with Iran. If they do anything, it would be a very bad mistake." If the President of the United States plans on sending 120,000 troops to the Middle East in response to the ship attacks, then we are 100% beating our war drum. But let's not forget that Iran, as I stated earlier in my report, has sleeper cells inside the United States of America. Take a look at this article from WashingtonTimes.com. Dianne Feinstein, terrorist sleeper cells are inside the U.S. IsraelUnwired.com. Iranian-backed terrorist sleeper cells are hiding in the U.S. FreeBeacon.com, a report published a little over a year ago. Iranian-backed sleeper cell militants hiding in the United States, poised for attack. Now, the article goes on to state, Iranian-backed militants are operating across the U.S., mostly unfettered, raising concerns in Congress and among regional experts that these sleeper cell agents are poised to launch a large-scale attack on the American homeland, according to a testimony before lawmakers. Iranian agents tied to the terror group Hezbollah have already been discovered in the U.S. plotting attacks and giving rise to fears that Tehran could order a strike inside America should tensions between the Trump administration and Islamic Republic reach a boiling point. Intelligence officials and former White House officials confirmed to Congress that such an attack is not only plausible, but relatively easy for Iran to carry out at a time when the Trump administration is considering abandoning the landmark nuclear deal and reapplying sanctions on Tehran. There is mounting evidence that Iran poses a direct threat to homeland, according to Representative Peter King, a member of the House Homeland Security Committee and chair of its subcommittee on counterterrorism and intelligence. Now, that report was done over a year ago, and as it sits, we have pulled out of the nuclear deal, and tensions are now rising between Iran and the United States of America. Could this invoke some kind of action from these Iranian sleeper cells here in the United States of America? Well, I pray and hope not. But the fact is, the mainstream media is keeping all this information from you. Not one mention of these sleeper cells has been heard from any mainstream media news source. One other thing that the mainstream media fails to report is that terrorists are coming in at our border by the thousands. Take a look at this article on ZeroHedge.com. Sleeper cells, 10,000 illegal aliens from terrorist nations now roam free in the United States of America. The article states illegals came from Iran, Syria, Sudan, and North Korea. IRLI said Iran led the pack with over 6,000 or 61% of their citizens with removal orders, followed by Syria with 20%, Sudan with 18%, and North Korea with less than 1%. Congress has recently held hearings where U.S. intelligence officials have suggested that Iranian sleeper cells inside the U.S. are awaiting orders to strike. Now, this article clearly states that Iran is leading the way and that over 6,000 persons have come to the United States of America from the tyrannical country of Iran. Now, let me make it clear. There are both good and bad people coming from Iran. Many Christian Iranians are trying to escape to the United States of America in order to get away from the dictator and communist regimes there in Iran. But on a bad note, there's also people coming from Iran who threaten the very lifeline of our country. People who are joining and starting terrorist cells within the United States of America. Now, in addition to everything I told you, I also want to show you this report published on May 9th. Take a look at this article on NBCnews.com. U.S. officials, Iran officials okayed attacks on American military. Intelligence revealed that Iran told some proxies and surrogates they could go after American military targets in the region, says 3 U.S. officials. According to that NBC report, Iranian officials just gave the okay to their members to go ahead and strike America's military. Anyhow, I wanted to bring you the latest on everything that was happening and also give you some hope, because the good news is some of these terrorist cells or sleeper cells are now being revealed. Take a look at this article on thedailycaller.com. FBI discovers homegrown Islamic terror compound in Alabama. Thankfully, some of these plots are now exposed. That said, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you like what you heard, give me a thumbs up and share it on all your social media outlets. As you know, we are getting mass amounts of censorship here on Facebook and Twitter and all sorts of social media. So I just encourage you guys, please follow and support those people that are getting the real news out. As I stated before, the mainstream media refuses to share a lot of this information. Anyhow, thanks again for tuning in. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.